You'd think if they thought that they had some sort of tracks that showed a vehicle going into the water whenever they were doing all of that original searching, they would have looked in the direction that they thought the tire tracks were telling the story. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. So in the last few videos, we've gone over a few files that were released in the public request release in the Kiely Rodni situation. We've gone through a couple of photos. We've listened to a phone call. Now we're going to go through the second file of photos in the Kiely Rodni case. The first file was about 92 photos of the vehicle being in the water, the buoy, some cones that look like they were laying out some tracks that they might have initially believed that her vehicle left in the ground before it hit the water. So after talking with Steve Fisher, SF Investigates, as some of you guys know, it turns out those are actually not law enforcement cones. Those are Adventures with Purposes cones, which I do remember that they were in one location until they actually spotted her vehicle on their sonar. And then before they dove, they moved closer and moved a bunch of their equipment, the RV and all these things. So yeah, those are actually Adventures with Purposes cones, it turns out. If you haven't seen either one of those videos, this is the call video. This is the last one with the tire tracks and all of the cones and all the new questions. Now let's go over the second photo file on the list. Now this looks to be about 100 more photos of the scene. Now I can't fit one full photo on my screen. It will not let me zoom out anymore. And I'm already down to like 25% on my screen itself. So these are like really big photos. These are really, really big files. Now, I don't know why, again, they're like showing parts of the tires and all of these different tracks. Because like, look at all these tracks. Look at all of these tracks. I don't know why they're showing all of it, but we're just going to go ahead and scroll through it and see if we see anything noticeable. I don't believe anything in these are going to just like jump out significant. I just don't. Because they're all going to have the same kind of look to them. Multiple tire tracks. Nothing that looks out of the ordinary. Looks like they were just trying to get as much footage of the layout as they possibly could. There's like no cones. That just looks like some tree branch just like growing into the ground. There's a tree branch again. Yeah, this looks to be just run of the mill, I guess. Tree branch again. Tree branch again. Not really branch, like the root. The root system looks to be like making an indentation in the ground. See, there's just like a whole bunch of tracks. It was a very driven around area. Like, just all the tires coming across each other and the wind and the people walking around. Like, it would be really, really difficult to be able to determine really anything, especially after a few weeks. Because you'd think if they thought that they had some sort of tracks that showed a vehicle going into the water whenever they were doing all of that original searching, they would have looked in the direction that they thought the tire tracks were telling the story. You know what I mean? And they must not have. But then again, like I mentioned in the last video, we literally watched scuba divers with masks and scuba suits with tanks and all kinds of gear literally swimming right on top of where her car ended up being pulled out of the water. Like, we all know that's a fact. So I don't know what they were trying to show us with those cones, and I'm not seeing any cones whatsoever so far. And we're a quarter of the way through these photos. So if they would have saw, okay, now we're getting some crime scene tape over on this side. So if they would have seen anything that looked like tracks that were leading into the water, I think that they would have like followed those initially. So for them to try to say a few weeks later, oh, well, now that the car's found, now we know these tracks are hers. I'm sorry, but that just doesn't compute for me. Like, you missed me with the boo-boo and the incompetence and the lack of knowing how to do their damn jobs. That's all it sounds like. That's all it still sounds like. I mean, they've released all this information. CHP has released all this information. Now we have to try to get some info from Truckee. I want to know if they're going to have like a whole bunch of closed off stuff, because one thing we need to remember here is that little Miss Sammy was an adult. She was 18. So unless they seal things in this case because Kiely was a minor at the time, nothing about Sammy should be sealed for age of her being a minor or any of those things, because she was an 18-year-old. So we shall see if there's any success with anything, because I damn sure am going to try. Damn straight am I going to try. Yeah, I just really don't think these are going to show much of anything that's going to tell me anything. Lots of dead plants. Lots of burned, dead plants. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not really seeing. I mean, if anything, it just shows you like how mundane it looks. Like mundane in a way that like nothing just jumps out. At least nothing to me. And again, I'm no like professional in any damn way, okay? No way, shape, nor form. Just because I have a degree in something doesn't mean crap. I don't know crap about crap anymore, okay? But my sentiment remains. There's so many tracks, so many different vehicles. I mean, just in between the search party even getting started and the party ending, Kiely leaving the party, and whatever that scenario, how many vehicles drove this spot? Over 100? It was a weekend night. There's no telling how many tracks are actually covering whatever tracks are actually Kiely's. And that was just by the time the missing persons report was actually filed. Oh, okay. What is this? Is that some sort of police marker? Or what is that? So if anybody recognizes this, please let me know down in the comments what it is. There it is again. I don't know if it's like a police marker or if maybe somebody else left it there. I don't see nothing else around it. But it does look, by the way, like all this is starting to look like it is closer to the shoreline area. So I don't know if it's important or not. Well, there's like an orange thing next to MAIT. That's where all this is actually coming from to you guys. This is the actual MAIT department that released this information, which is like the accident investigation team. See, that kind of like, that's the same color, and that's a bag that looks like it's opened, and now this is right here. So maybe it's like something for the helicopter for calculating like where to circle and where to look, maybe. I don't know. But it looks like the MAIT guy is the one who dropped it there. And here's a different one right here on this side. Yeah, that's probably what that is. Back of the MAIT truck is open, and that's sitting right there. Yeah, I mean, I'm just assuming. I don't know. Oh man. It's just so much tracks. So much of the same color over and over and over again. It's so like you seriously have to be some sort of for real expert to be able to see something significant and specific in this sort of terrain. Like for sure. All kinds of little circles and swirls and stuff. Well, these are pretty deep, but not marked off with anything significant. That's a burn pit. Where'd it go? Over here? Yeah. Look at circles. I wonder how old that's. I wonder how old that is. How long that's been there. Yeah, this is getting over to like this side of it. Yeah. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Like the algae marks are interesting to me. So I'm wondering if they try to determine that down there, like where her car actually is, because this is, like I said, off to this side. Yeah, that's it for this file. Yeah, it really has to take some sort of expert to be able to determine anything specific from that terrain, from all of those tire tracks just combining with each other. And again, my sentiment is going to remain the same. They still have not at this point showed us the direction in which they believe her Honda actually took when it comes to all these photos and the cones. And like I said, if there was any sort of path that looked like tires led directly into the water that they could see then, weeks after she disappeared. There's no way that they didn't notice those same tire marks whenever they were searching for her in the very beginning after she first was reported missing. The tire marks would have been even more prominent back then. So if there were prominent enough tire marks weeks later, why didn't they notice them before and then follow them to where the vehicle was and find her much sooner? This doesn't even make sense to me. But again, that's it for this. The next file looks to be photos of them trying to connect to the computer to her Honda. Now, what I am understanding is that because the vehicle was in the water for so long, the computer was damaged. And so they weren't able to get really anything at all off of it. And it looks like this is just a short 16 photo file showing them doing work to try to get it to connect. So there might be more than one file in the next video. I don't know yet. We shall see. Just depends on how much I talk in the next one. But for this one, that is it. Let me know what you think about all of this so far down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. And don't forget to make sure that your notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.